need to talk about M3GAN right now. Before we do, I want to show you something. When I went to see the screening, there was a friend of mine took a goofy photo of me, and here I am. Here I am,
Aw.
so enamored with M3GAN. I think she wants to date me. This is what I think. This killer robot may have an obsession with me. So here's our cute. I think if we were a couple, it would be Gorgon. So there you go. All right. I'm not going to share that now. That is going to get memed, I'm sure. Like, why did I share that?
I
That was
know.
that was really
This is a
stupid of me.
great photo, by the way.
That was stupid of me. But Alan, why don't you tell us about the story of M3GAN?
Okay. Yeah, M3GAN. Oh gosh, I didn't think I would be describing this, but yeah, there's a product engineer played by Allison Williams who has been developing these toys that you can communicate with, and she's been working on this AI technology, and that's where M3GAN comes into play. It's a girl doll who learns about you, who connects with you, and becomes kind of that playmate. And so early in the film, we find out that her niece was involved in a car accident with her parents, her sister and brother-in-law. They die. The girl's left abandoned, and now must live with Allison Williams' character. I'll get the name Gemma. And so, because Gemma is so involved in her work, and she is under this pressure to make the Furby type toy they created cheaper. She has no time to spend with Katie, the little girl, so she brings M3GAN home and kind of tests this new technology. And of course, M3GAN and Katie get along well, almost too well. And Katie starts to develop, her AI starts to develop more and more. And as AI do, it becomes paranoid, thinking that humans don't like them. And there you go. That's your AI robot movie. And yes, I would say this is the next gen Chucky. It's essentially the same thing, but without the demon possessed doll. This one is just wacky AI. That's the best way I could describe this movie. I will say this: I did not want to see this movie. I'm glad I did. The reason I like this movie, and these are the kind of horror movies I'm drawn to, is it takes an idea and just really digs deep into it. Just this idea of a proxy parenting by proxy, where you give your kids some device to occupy their time, and that this kid now becomes attached to these devices. It takes not only that thread of an idea, but it explodes that idea and examines just all the unnecessary side effects that something like this would do, and it really goes deep. I mean, this is a thoughtful movie, and that's why I like this movie, because it just makes you think about where we are as a society when it comes to our devices. The Alexas in our homes, if you have them. And it just explores this, and I just found this exploration incredibly fascinating, only to be ruined by murder and death. And so I'm semi mixed on this. What do you think, Chris?
I love this film. It's a popcorn movie. It's more of a comedy than it is a horror. I do like that the horror aspect is more psychological in the film, and it does delve into the dangers of AI, and AI kind of going a little too far. The character design of M3GAN itself, which is there's a little girl that actually plays the character. Like, I saw a little behind the scenes that was on YouTube that showed how the character's done. It's great. This movie just leans into kids' obsession with toys that interact with apps, screen time, like how much time parents spend with their kids, right? How they can just say, oh, just go play with this toy, and you can have all the time you want. There's a scene with Allison Williams and Katie at the dinner table. She says, oh, you can be on the screen as long as you want, which is, that's kind of the problem. It's not directly commenting in an overt way on bad parenting, but it does comment on that. It is a comment on it. But it's so, this character of M3GAN, from the voice acting to the actual girl in the outfit, fantastic. hysterical, funny. Like there's scenes that are just darkly comedic, like when she's singing a song to kind of console Katie,
Yeah.
and it's so dark. It's so dark. Oh my god. Just the whole theater just bursted out into laughter because you know what's coming. I also think what's interesting about this is Chucky, while I love Chucky, it is sort of like it's a spirit, like it's a doll imbued with a dark spirit, right? Whereas
Mhm.
this is like this could be a real thing. There could be a killer doll, right? It could exist. Maybe not have the body strength. I think you're pushing it there. But and also the kills. There are kills, a number of them,
Yeah,
uh,
there's a lot of them. Yeah.
and they're great. They're all played for some comedian. And Ronnie Chang, which I've seen Ronnie Chang's. Have you seen his Netflix comedy
I've
special?
seen bits of it. Yeah.
Well, I watched the whole thing, Alan. It's great. And Ronnie Chang is so good as the
Mhm.
boss. He's such an asshole. He's perfect. I
Yeah, but
did
my
have
problem with that is, this is a product engineering, this is AI software. How is it that the Asian is the least technical
a
person in this group?
yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
That
It doesn't
makes
make
zero
any
sense.
sense.
That you would expect to see one Asian in this lab, but there isn't.
Yeah, but he's so good as that character. Um, and a friend of mine, I will say this: the movie is PG-13. A friend of mine in September saw the R-rated version of this movie. They were deciding whether to go R or PG-13. And this could be considered, well, I guess it's not a spoiler because it's not in the movie. But my friend who saw the R-rated version of M3GAN back in September said, and he said it's incredibly gory. He also watched it last night with us. He's part of our movie meetup group, and he said that Ronnie Chang's character, uh, his head gets cut off and is thrown into the elevator. It's different in the movie, right? It's different in the movie, but in the R-rated version, it was Ronnie Chang's head. So it was way more gory and over the top.
Wow.
I think what they'll do with this though is, the first movie is going to be PG-13. They have got to be working on one now.
Yeah.
There's going to be a M3GAN 2.0,
It's gonna
right?
make
You
money.
know it's
Yeah.
going to be. This
Yeah.
is, I mean, I don't think it's going to beat Avatar this weekend, but for sure this is going to do well over the long haul because, Blumhouse has a way of making these movies very affordable. So some can tank and then some do really well. I think they're one of the studios with one of the best track records
Mhm.
in Hollywood right now. They just make things consistently good. It's James Wan is involved in this. It's just super fun. And
Yeah.
and it is PG-13. I will say this. I think it's definitely PG-13. If you take like a 9-year-old or under to see this movie, I think that they would be really, really scared.
Yeah. I mean, the
So
most of the kills are off screen, or the final deaths. And I think it is a smart move to make it PG-13. I think the story on its own is strong and stands on its own, and I don't think it needed the R rating to give that story, to make that story any better than it is.
exactly. So strong recommendation for this.
Yeah,
I'd say
let me say one thing about this movie.
sure, sure, please.
It's written by Akilah Cooper, who has done a lot of genre TV. She wrote 2 episodes of Luke Cage. How did Marvel let this person go? Uh,
Yeah,
can you imagine
yeah,
this writer writing She-Hulk, and
yeah.
how much better She-Hulk would have been? I mean, the character of Gemma is so well thought out. She is a flawed person, a flawed female,
Right. Yeah.
and everything that happens to her is a direct result of her inability to connect with her niece. And I'm like, this is exactly what we were saying She-Hulk was and should have been and never became. And it's funny. It's got the dark tones to it. I mean, can you imagine She-Hulk having gone down this kind of a route?
Well, yeah, and yes, yes, Yellow Flash too. It is good. It's entertaining. It sets up an expectation and it follows through on the
Mhm.
expectation. And it's not long. It's like an hour 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm tired of seeing these you know, every movie's 3. I mean, even Otto was like 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Yeah, I got
tell
home
you,
on time. I got home at a reasonable hour last night.
Yeah, and then Yellow Flash 2 says it's good. It's good. Viper
good.
Chief 117 says Chris Gore said it was good. That's blasphemy. No, it's not. It's just I'm telling you my truth. And my truth is that M3GAN is good. James became a new member. Thank you for that. Alan, do the M3GAN dance.
That's
the
not
film
something
philosopher. Alan, the film philosopher, is asking you, please do the
yeah,
M3GAN dance.
that's not something I wish to have on the internet forever.
So more Chucky than Ex Machina, says Snakes and Funerals. Yes, but what I do think is interesting is the movie does delve into some of the ideas that were explored in Ex Machina, which is what happens with AI. What happens when AI becomes self-aware? What happens when AI becomes aware that it could die and cease to exist? How would an AI react to that? And that's what and what's interesting is when they've done AI experiments, like in the real world, when they've done AI experiments, it seems like AI always goes kind of crazy.